Dear learner, I'm happy to welcome you again to our continuing lessons in human resource management on the manifested e-learning platform. And today we are continuing with our human resource administration topic. And we are going to look at another very interesting area of basics of payroll management. When workers have rendered their services, it is their expectation that they will receive what is due to them. And in that context, we are going to look at now basics of payroll management. And what is understood by payroll management? Payroll management is the administration and processing of wages, salaries, deductions, allowances, bonus, financial reports, and other financial rewards in an organization. So that is the purview of payroll management. And dear learner, it is expected that you will have some basic knowledge to be able to participate in the process of payroll management, though some of the functions may be provided by other departments within an organization. For example, auditing, finance department will also help, or functions will help in the administration of this process. So the basics of payroll management from the human resource administration point of view, as we have indicated, is the administration and processing of wages, salaries, deductions, allowances, bonus, financial reports, and other financial rewards in an organization. So to be able to realize the objectives of the lesson for today, we are going to look at importance of payroll management. We will also have a look at stages in payroll processing. We will also look at methods of payroll management, modes of payment, advantages of payroll management software. And our first area is importance of payroll management. Importance of payroll management. Importance of payroll management. So why is payroll management important? As we have just indicated, when employees render their services, they expect to be paid, and an organization also has to put in place mechanisms of how it can pay employees, how it can plan for these payments and so on. So the importance of payroll management is central in any given organization. And the first one is payroll management helps an organization, number one, adherence to statutory obligations. So an organization is expected to have some statutory compliance requirements, for example, in the area of, let's say, taxation and so on. Then number two, implementation of a remuneration strategy. Now, an organization sets out to be able to reward or maybe compensate its employees based on their input in terms of an organization. So payroll management is important to ensure that an organization is able to implement its remuneration strategy the way it has set out. Then provision, why payroll management is important, provision of detailed information to employees. So employees may be interested in knowing that they have worked for a given period of time. So how have they been paid? What are the components and the details of their maybe pay or wage? So Payroll management is important so that employees can be provided with detailed information regarding how they have been paid, what they have been paid, and so on. And then planning for another important reason, planning for payroll management, and funding. So once a payroll, for example, a payroll has been computed, an organization can be able to know that during a given period of time, then the projected payment is going to be, for example, 1 million shillings, 2 million shillings. So that process of planning to be able to maybe set aside the funding is important so that payroll management can make a projection. Maybe in the month of January, we expect to pay this. In the month of February, we expect to pay this. In the month of maybe June, we expect to pay this. So that projected arrangement helps in relation of that particular payroll process. Then there is also the issue of effecting checkoffs. For example, an organization may be, for example, deducting NHIF deductions from workers' pay, NSSF from workers' pay, and also income tax. So through payroll management, an organization is able to now effect these checkoffs. For example, the NHIF is deducted from workers, it is deducted from employees. And then there is also the question of making disbursements. So payroll is important to help an organization make disbursements. For example, you have union dues, you have cooperative maybe deductions, cooperative deductions, or maybe bank obligations. Employees may have some obligations and maybe standing orders with banks and so on. So the payroll management helps an organization to ensure they can be able to provide these particular services as required. So basically, Lana, those are some of the areas in which an organization finds it important to manage the payroll or effect payroll management processes. Then we can have a look at now a very important area, stages in payroll processing. Stages in payroll processing. Stages in payroll processing. Stages in payroll processing. Now, what is meant by stages in payroll processing? So these could be steps. An organization may not take all the steps, but there could be steps through which an organization is able to process its payroll in relation to its employees. So what are some of the steps that, or the stages that an organization may go through? So the first one, dear learner, is obtaining primary data. Obtaining primary data. Now, this primary data may, for example, be employee details, employee grades, scales that these employees are supposed to be paid at. So the first stage would be, before any payroll is done, the people responsible for payroll management, if it's HR or finance, obtain the primary data. And this primary data may be the name of the employee, the designation of the employee, the title of the employee, the department where this employee is, and maybe the rate of pay for that particular employee. Then there is the issue of ascertaining the pay for a given period. Now, supposing an employee is paid based on a week. So if, let's say, an employee is paid weekly, and the employee has worked maybe in a week, the employee has worked maybe for 4 days. Then depending on how the employee is paid, it is important to ascertain maybe for a given period, if it is monthly, for example, at any given period, for example, monthly, the month of, let's say, January, the month of February. So it is important to ascertain that this employee is supposed to be paid for a given period of time or for a given duration of time. Then that is determined. So if, let's say, the employee has worked for 40 hours, maybe times 2, maybe those are 80 hours in a week, then that is now the period. And if the employee is paid 100 shillings per hour, then that employee could be paid maybe 40 hours times 2, those are 80 hours, then times 100 shillings, maybe 8,000 or whatever the figure could be. That is then determined. Then determination of the gross pay. So the third one would be determination of the gross pay. Gross pay. So this now then means if the employee has, for example, worked and is supposed to be paid 10,000 shillings, for example, plus a house allowance of maybe, plus a house allowance of maybe 5,000, then this employee is supposed to be paid a gross pay of, say, 15,000 shillings. This is just a working example. So during that period of time, the employee is supposed to be paid a gross. That is now the house allowance, maybe plus the basic pay or the piece rate that the worker has put in. So the determination of gross pay, once you have ascertained the pay and also obtained the details, the determination of the gross pay becomes now the next stage. Then there is the element of computing taxable pay. Computing taxable pay. So depending on the pay scales, if let's say the employee is supposed to be paid the 15,000 shillings, then it means if that employee is subject to taxation, then that particular employee, the taxable pay could be that 15,000. So computing now what the gross earnings are, you have the basic pay plus allowances, maybe plus whatever the employees be given and so on. So you determine what is the gross pay or maybe what is the taxable pay, and then determination of total deductions. After that has been done, determination of total deductions. We have given an example, for example, NHIF, NSSF, pay, and maybe cooperative. So maybe NHIF could be maybe 1,000 shillings. NSSF could be 400 shillings. Pay could be maybe, for example, maybe 2,000 shillings. Cooperative deductions could be 2,000. So determination of total deductions. So once an organization has now computed the total deductions, then there is the issue of computation of total, computation of net pay. So the net pay is derived when you look at the gross pay. So this one is determined by gross pay less total deductions. And then this could be used to determine the net pay that this employee is supposed to be, for example, provided within that particular period. So once that computation has been done, then number 7, auditing of the payroll. So the payroll is taken through an audit process where if an organization has an internal auditor or an external auditor, it is subjected to that auditing process, so that whoever has to audit has to check whether whatever has been given, the number of employees and so on, is sufficient. Then the next step is to obtain authority, obtaining authority to process process payments. So supposing an organization has now come to a conclusion that maybe for the month of June, the total payroll is 2.5 million. So this, the whole of the payroll and the auditing that has been done is now sent to whoever is supposed to be able to process that particular, provide the authority, authorize that now the 2.5 million for that time period of time should be paid. Then the next step is making disbursements. So disbursements now mean, if let's say the policy of the organization says payroll pay should be effected by, say, 26th of the month. So maybe by the 24th or 25th, now the authority has been given, then those who are responsible for the disbursements can now disburse the payments. Maybe workers have given their own instructions that my salary should be paid through maybe a bank, or through maybe a FOSA, front office, maybe services of a cooperative, or the worker can, for example, be given cash, or the worker could be given a check. We shall be looking at this just shortly. So the disbursements are now made. And when these disbursements are being made, these ones include also what you call third party. Third-party disbursements are also made, so that if you are sending money to maybe a standing order to a bank or to a cooperative society as it is and so on, that disbursement is made so that those third parties also receive their arrangements in terms of the money. Then number 10, availing pay records, e.g. pay slips to employees, and also what you call byproducts to the other third-party recipients. If maybe there are retail firms that are selling things on hire purchase, so the payment records are availed to the retail parties, to the banks and so on, to the employees, so that those employees can now be able to at least look at the record of what they have been paid in relation to that particular organization. Then lastly, once this has been done, number 11, storage of payroll, and addressing any grievances on pay from employees or third parties. So now that payments have been made, workers have received the money, so then a worker might say, I have received my pay for a given month, but I was expecting to receive, let's say, instead of the 15,000, the worker says, I was expecting to receive 25. So the human resource department or the department handling payroll is able to tell the worker, let us look at what you have received, what you are supposed to receive, and this is how it was computed. So that then becomes a process of now addressing the grievances so that they can be addressed in relation to what might have accrued. So those are some of the stages. As we have said, organizations can have all those stages at any one given time, or they can use those stages based on their payroll processing arrangements and so on. So we have now looked at stages in payroll processing. Now, how about the methods? Methods of payroll management. Methods of payroll management. Methods of payroll management. So what are some of the methods that an organization may use to maybe manage the payroll? So one, you may have what you call manual methods. So manual methods may be used especially in small organizations or on, say, a farm somewhere where you may have a handwritten payroll. handwritten payroll. So what happens? There is a ledger or a list, and it is indicated there. These are 10 employees, and these 10 employees, each one of them is supposed to get maybe 20,000 shillings. So 10 employees, 20,000 shillings each, 200,000 total. So the name of the employee is put, the ID number, maybe employment number. Then on that manual system, the payroll is prepared and it is handwritten, and workers get their pay. Then you also have what you call computer. You can have a computer or Excel spreadsheet. Excel spreadsheet. So the Excel spreadsheet can give now more advantages, so that you have a computer generated list, you indicate the details there, and then some computations can also be done. So a computer Excel sheet can also be used depending on the needs of a given organization. Then you may also have what you call outsourced payroll management. So with this, it implies the organization can give this process of preparing the payroll to a third party. So it is outsourced, and that third party only receives the details and then makes the payroll, gets the authority and so on, and also now implements the payroll for an organization as outsourced business. And then you also have what you call mobile phone methods. Methods. So basically here, some mobile phone companies have come up with a platform where an employer has to put the details, maybe with phone numbers, and then the money is disbursed through the mobile phone money transfer platform, so that workers receive their salaries on their mobile phone. So that is one of the emerging technologies where mobile phones are used to be able to maybe make payments to workers. And then you also have what you call payroll management software. Payroll management software. Payroll management software. So here you may have a system that is within the human resource management integrated system, where the payroll is part of the organization-wide integrated process, and payroll is just one of the areas where now an organization is making use of that. So those, Lana, are some of the methods through which an organization may be able to manage its payroll activities. So that is, now how about the modes of payment? Modes of payment, when it comes to payroll management, you have modes of payment. Modes of payment. How can an organization make payments? And as we have said, Lana, sometimes you may be operating in very interesting situations. Maybe you are on a tea farm, you are in a flower farm, for example, and it may be very difficult for those workers to leave the farm to be able to go to a town to be made to be able to receive their payment. So depending on those circumstances, those kind of workers may be paid through what is called cash. The employees are told to go to a particular maybe room or maybe a particular location, then cash is given. So if an employee is supposed to be given 50,000 shillings, that employee is given cash money 50,000. So that cash payment becomes one of the modes through which an employee could be paid. Then you may also have what you call direct bank deposit. So this could be some form of EFT. Okay, so an EFT, so direct bank deposit, where the organization is able to tap on a particular button and the payroll is disbursed based on the account number. So if an employee is in Barclays or Absa Bank, Kenya Commercial Bank, maybe National Bank, or maybe any other bank for that matter, direct bank transfer is done from the organization account to that particular bank where the employee has an account. Then you may also have the check system. So what happens with the check system is a check is written, and in most cases, they are normally what you call cross checks. A check is written in the name of the employee. Then the employee picks that particular check and maybe takes it to maybe the bank, and then banks it in their bank account, and then they are able to receive their payment and so on. Then some organizations may also have what you call money, mobile phone, mobile money transfer, mobile money transfer. So mobile money transfer, this may provide a system where through the mobile phone platforms, this employee is able to receive their money in their phone number. So that again is another mode of payment. Then you may also have other system, for example, number 5, payment through front office of cooperative societies. So some cooperative society have what you call front office operations. So employees may come and say, we have opened a bank account or maybe a front office payment service with a cooperative society. So the employer now can make arrangements and be able to at least process employees' pay through those front office services. So this could just be some of the modes of payments through which the payroll can be implemented. Then we also needed to look at advantages. What advantages may be there if an organization uses what you call a payroll management software? Advantages of payroll management software. Advantages of payroll management software. So with the advancements in computer systems, the payroll area has also not been left behind, and we talked about human resource management information systems. Now, what would be the advantages if an organization uses a management software to manage its payroll? So one of the things that can be very useful here is statutory compliance. And the first one, an example for that is income tax returns. So normally, workers are expected to fill Kenya Revenue Authority forms, for example, in Kenya. So that statutory compliance, the employer is able to generate the required information in relation to the tax records and be able to comply with the tax requirements according to the government regulations and so on. Then there is the issue of faster processing of payroll. There is also the issue of integration of payroll. There are issues also of storage of payroll data. There is also the aspect of digitization. Digitization of payroll. So here, for example, as we have indicated, workers can have what you call a self-service. Workers can be able to query the payroll and be able to get some services and so on. Then next, you have security controls. If you have a software, those managing the payroll can basically be able to have passwords to that particular payroll system, and that one makes it possible. Then there is also the issue of 7, generation of payroll reports. There is also the issue of electronic transfer of payments. payments. An organization can also be able to minimize fraud related to payrolls. Because you can imagine, dear learner, if you are making cash payments to workers, you may be paying people you may not even be able to know. But if you have a payroll system that has management software, then workers will be expected to maybe receive this money through their bank accounts. And that way you can be able to track and minimize what happens in relation to these particular arrangements and so on. Then there is also the issue of backups in data, and also cloud computing. So these ones are things that can be possible with a payroll management software. So dear learner, you can see the issue of payroll management is very sensitive. And if it is not done very carefully, it can also create a lot of challenges for an organization, and an organization may also lose a lot of resources and time. So in today's lesson, learner, we have looked at the basics of payroll management, and we have indicated that payroll management is the administration and processing of wages, salaries, deductions, allowances, bonus, financial reports, and other financial rewards in an organization. And we indicated that we will look at 5 areas. And these areas we indicated, and we have looked at them. Importance of payroll management, which we have looked at. We have also looked at stages in payroll processing. We have also looked at methods of payroll management, modes of payment, and advantages of payroll management software. And when we indicated the importance of payroll management, dear learner, we have discussed that it is important for payroll to be managed because 1, it helps in adherence to statutory obligations. 2, implementation of a remuneration strategy that an organization may have. Then 3, provision of detailed information to employees, like on their payslips. Then 4, effecting checkoffs, maybe to third parties like NHIF, NSSF, Kenya Revenue Authority for income tax. Then 6, making disbursements, for example, for union dues, cooperative societies, banks, and other third parties. Then we went ahead and looked at the stages in payroll processing, where, dear learner, we have indicated that these stages may not apply at all times in an organization, but there are some of the major stages in payroll processing. And we have said, number 1, in processing a payroll, number 1, there is the step for obtaining primary data, like employee details, then ascertaining the pay for a given period of time, which may be weekly or monthly, and then determination of the gross pay due to an individual worker, then ultimately all the workers, then computation of taxable payment or income for that period. Then number 5, determination of total deductions for that period of time. Then number 6, computation of net pay. Number 7, auditing of the payroll. Number 8, obtaining authority to process payments. Number 9, making disbursements. Number 10, availing pay records to workers like payslips, and also byproducts to third-party payroll stakeholders. And number 11, storage of payroll and addressing any grievances that may accrue as a result of the payroll payment. Then, dear learner, we proceeded and we have also looked at methods of payroll management, and we have indicated that the payroll can be done manually. It could be handwritten, number 1. Payroll could be computerized through maybe an Excel spreadsheet or other kind of sheet. And then number 3, outsourced payroll management can also be utilized, where a third party offers the services. Then mobile phone methods can also be used. Then payroll management, number 5, payroll management software can be used to be able to provide payroll management. Then we went ahead and looked at the modes of payment for maybe salaries and wages for workers. And dear learner, we have discussed and seen that pay can be given in cash. Pay, number one. Number two, pay can be given through direct bank deposits or EFTs. Number three, a check system can be used. Number four, mobile money transfer. And number five, through maybe payment for front office services in cooperative societies, as workers may elect. Then we have also now looked at the advantages of payroll management software. And we have said, number one, it helps in statutory compliance like income tax. Number two, faster processing of payroll is possible with payroll management software. Number three, integration of payroll in the activities of the entire organization. And number four, storage of payroll data is possible in payroll management software. Number five, digitization of the payroll where workers can access self-services. Number six, in entrenching security controls in the payroll is possible with the payroll management software where passwords can be given to those who are operating, and then generation of payroll reports is also possible. Number eight, electronic transfer of for payments. And number nine, minimizing fraud related to the payroll. And number 10, where a payroll management software is used, there could be backups in terms of data and cloud computing options. So dear learner, this has been a very interesting lesson or topic on a very interesting lesson on basics of payroll management. And before we finalize, it is important that you take down your assignment, discuss the importance of payroll management. Your assignment for today, discuss the importance of payroll management. Discuss the importance of payroll management. So dear learner, very critical aspect in human resource administration, basics of payroll management, which must be grasped very well, because where workers are not paid properly, it could lead to conflicts arising from payroll administration, or workers may complain and even sometimes resort to strikes, and an organization may also lose resources if payroll is not done effectively. So a very important section which will enhance your knowledge, skills, and attitudes in human resource administration in particular, and human resource management in general. So thank you very much for being attentive. We hope to see you in our next lesson.